Alright everyone, we start off today with a bit of an announcement actually. I will not be going live tomorrow. In fact, I won't be doing any videos at all probably. I'm going to be traveling to Europe. Yes indeed. Some people apparently thought I was prevented from getting on the plane the last time around. It was a logistic nightmare, and that's the reason why. It had nothing to do with me not being able to actually travel to Europe. So I'll be there for about a week, and so it'll be fun. So I'll be on a different time zone, and I probably won't stream the subsequent day because it's not a red-eye flight, but, I'm going against the dateline, so my internal calendar is going to be completely messed up. Anyway, link in the description, archived of course. Joe Biden waging a war on charter schools. Yes, indeed. As though the U.S. education system weren't already shit, which it is. And keep in mind, in some states it's actually on par with Western Europe, but there are some places where it's definitely not. I've been in some of the schools in the country. In Vermont, you tend to get pretty nice schools. I think it's number 1 or number 2 for educational attainment in the United States. It kind of depends on the year. Minnesota, actually, was up there. I think they're faltering now. But then you go to schools maybe in the Rio Grande Valley. They look a lot more like prisons than they do actual schools. I don't know exactly why, because Texas normally is pretty based, but there are some problems. It depends on the community. Biden is trying to defund the charter school system at the federal level. That is that normally the federal government tries to promulgate them. They're an interesting component of education. Of course, charter schools, homeschooling, that's a big thing that Trump has talked about, actually. Wanting to fund people who homeschool and give them a slice of the pie because they're effectively acting as educators. Their kids not using the bus. They're not eating lunch at the school or anything like that. Why should that child particularly, their family, be deprived of a slice of the pie? I think that Trump does it much better. And Biden is now attacking the charter school system. This particular article talks from the perspective of someone who is not white and saying, well, charter schools disproportionately, they're utilized by people who are black or brown. It's a little bit of liberal language there, of course, the BIPOC thing. But it's true. Yes, students. Let's say that you're in the inner city. You're black. You have a student who's really high functioning. They're top of their class, their IQ is obviously in the triple-digit range. They need like gifted courses and shit like that. But your local school is Ghetto 101, basically. Should you send them there, or should you send them maybe a couple of blocks away to a charter school and hope that they get a better education? Well, number 1, they're going to be bored, and number 2, they're probably going to be bullied if they're in the shit school. And there are a lot of shit schools out there. Again, it depends on your state, it depends on the municipality, it depends on their particular policies with regards to education. It's generally not really a federal level sort of thing. Mostly, if the schools suck in your area, it's a problem at the municipal or state level. There are certain states that are simply better than others when it comes to education. There are municipalities that are better than others within states. For instance, in the state of Vermont, if you're going to school in Rutland, you're probably going to a good school. We got 2 of the top 10 schools in the state and the number 1 state for education right here in Rutland County. If you're in Barrie, it might be a little bit lower end. No offense to any Vermonters there that live in the Barrie area, but I've been through there a couple of times, and yeah, you've got some problems. Like when you sued that developer who wanted to make an entire city block in order to completely revamp your downtown. Yeah, that was a good one now, wasn't it? Joe Biden's war on charter schools, by the way, makes no sense. Unless it's malevolent. It's specifically meant to denigrate the educational system. And indeed, that's what leftoids want. They want to dumb down your kids so that your kids are more amenable to stupid ideas like socialism. It's really no different. It's really no more complicated than that. That's literally the purpose. They're literally trying to dumb down the kids. They're trying to fuck with the educational system. When I was younger, and maybe not so wise, I thought that was a conspiracy theory. Right-wingers, they just hate education in general. They keep rambling about these liberals indoctrinating people. Nobody could possibly want to dumb down the population. What the fuck point would that make? Doesn't make any sense. You end up with less scientists and more people flipping burgers. But then, when I looked at the actual facts and figures and the shape-shifting of the economy over time, I said, well, they don't want more scientists. They export and import skilled labor at will at this point with the open borders policy. Kind of does make sense that you'd want more people to be more dumb. And then if they're more dumb, they're more likely to vote for you, of course. Liberalism is a disorder. It's stupid. So if you want stupid voters, and you don't really care because you can always get scientists from India or China or someplace like that, and it doesn't make any difference. Some other part of the world where the educational system is actually still more or less intact, at least for the upper echelons of society. Let's not stereotype here. If you're from the lowest caste in India, you're probably not going to become a rocket scientist even if you are smart. There's still some bigotry and stupidity in the world and other countries as well. You would depress the educational system. You would do it on purpose. And that's what I think that they're doing. Waging a war on charter schools to try to literally keep the black man down. Ta-da! That's basically Biden's MO. And there are still people, by the way, out there that think that the Democratic Party has their best interests in mind when they drag out like the term BIPOC or talk about diversity and equity and things like that. They think that it's actually going to benefit them. I assure you that it will not. It will hold you back. It will make some people complacent. It will make some people lazy. The rich are still going to be rich. The poor are still going to be poor. You're just severing the upward mobility angle of things. The one that's given to you by free market laissez-faire capitalism, that ultimate power of the average person, if they're willing to put in the effort, they're willing to educate themselves, they work hard, and then they can have theirs, so to speak. That will be lost forever. It's pretty much absent in most of the world. The old world mentality is very, very hierarchical, very, very stagnant, as it were. If you go to Europe, for example, yes, there's an element of capitalistic upward mobility there. It's much more limited. It is much more, you happen to be born into a certain situation, and so there you go. You've rolled the dice already when you're a little baby. That's your lot in life. The American dream was that a person could start from effectively nothing. So they're from a poor family. High school education maybe applies. 100 years ago, that was a far cry too. You'd probably be in the 10% if you got a high school education, or the equivalent, of course, of what we have now. But if you worked hard, or you were naturally high functioning, there would be some sort of meritocratic situation there where you had a possibility. It wasn't necessarily an assurance of your success, but there was the possibility of your success. This is a direct attack on that exact principle that built the United States. What built the United States was people went out on a limb. People who in some cases were wealthy before, they cast aside everything to go and trundle along with wagons dragged by oxen across uncertain territories where they might be harassed by so-called Native Americans, or their oxen get poisoned by drinking the wrong water. It was built by people who took initiative. It was built by people who came here with nothing and said, look, I know how to grow a crop, and under the Homestead Act I can get my 50 acres. Well, the fuck am I waiting for? All I gotta do is have the fare across the ocean, pass the tuberculosis test, and then I can go out into the Midwest and I can farm corn or something like that. Rugged people. That's what built the United States. It's the exact opposite of what the modern neoliberal is proposing. It's an abomination. It's absolutely averse to everything that this nation was founded for. That's about all. Peace out.